Day after Roma Inter, 4-2. And honestly, I'm not that disappointed. I'm not down. I'm not sad. I think this was a good performance. I thought Roma really showed up. If Inter Milan is one of the best teams in Europe, what does this say about this Giallorossi side? What does this suggest about a manager who didn't have a preseason yet has his team going out and playing some really great football? Guys, going toe to toe with one of the best teams that I've seen who are going to be the future Serie A champions. Wayne Gerard, it's nice to see you today. We're going to be breaking all this down. First of all, I want to go over the player ratings, or second of all, first I want to look at the starting lineups. Then we will look play by play of this match, and then we'll go into what else from there. De Rossi press conference. Okay, let's do it. Starts sharing here. Shift 6, my lucky button. Take a look at this. Shots, Roma 8, Inter 10. Very close. On target. Okay, Inter, yeah, much more. But the XG, one thing that's not shown here, Inter 1.24 and Roma just over 1. So that definitely suggests that this match was a bit closer than is suggested as far as these stats go, as these dry stats. Got to look a little bit further into seeing what was really significant, what mattered when it came to the play from these two teams. Corners, a bunch for Inter. That's one thing that with De Rossi ball, right, Roma's giving a lot more leverage to the opposition when it comes to pressing them because they hit on the counter. They have a numeric difference, and that invites the opposition to come more in. They get sometimes more opportunities. But having said that, too, Roma was very effective on the counter yesterday. We look at the league table, Inter are flying. Like I said, Serie A, I think it's there, 60 points. Juve second with 53, and Milan with 49. And we can see Roma pegged back down to the Europa League spots. But hey, tell you what, there's still a lot to hope for, even with Atalanta having 2 games in hand. The season's still long. What are we at? We're at like 22. This is Serie A match day 22, right? I'm pretty sure. So there's still plenty of time to go. Fiorentina 37. They won big today. I think they scored 5 goals. Belotti got on net. Let's see real quick what happened there against Frosinone. Yeah, Belotti opened it up in the 16th minute. Nico Gonzalez, Icone, Barak. Frosinone were doing actually not too bad to start off the season, but it does look like they're starting to cool off. Checking out Gazzetta dello Sport and their ratings, one thing you're going to notice here, 7.5 for who? Lorenzo Pellegrini. And that is the tied for the highest on the entire pitch. That was Marcus Thuram, the other player who got a 7.5 there. The one I disagree with, I guess, is probably El Shaarawy. I think he should have been given at least a 7. I thought he had a really good match. He had that really nice goal. He hit the woodwork. So for me, I think he's a 7. Lukaku, 4.5. It's about right. Dybala, 5. Yeah. Paredes, 6.5. Cristante, 6.5. Angelino, 4.5 because he gets that own goal. Huijsen, 6.5. Mancini, 6. Mancini he had a bad yellow card. I thought it was a little bit foolish, but he does get the goal. So maybe a 6.5 would have warranted that 0.5 more. Karsdorp, 5. He didn't do much. Rui Patricio, probably a 5. It's a bit generous. Jan Sommer, 7 for his stop on Lukaku. Darmian, 7. They played a lot to him. Pavard, quiet match for him. Acerbi, he gets a goal. He's at a 7. Bastoni also gets a goal. So that makes sense there. DiMarco, 6.5. Not his best game. Barella, 7. I guess Barella gets a 7. Çalhanoğlu, 6.5. Roma did good at keeping him quiet. Mkhitaryan, 7. And like I said, Marcus Thuram, number 9 with a 7.5. And Lautaro Martinez with an unexpectedly quiet match for him. I'm going to go on the play-by-plays now. Let me just pull off a better screen here. All right. So early on in this match, El Shaarawy gets a really nice opportunity. Lukaku plays it back for him. El Shaarawy puts a curler, bit of a tiragir, and Sommer makes a good save on that. That's 57 seconds into the match, 56. So off on the right foot. Yes, Inter gets a corner in the 17th minute that gets converted by, of course, the ex-Laziale Acerbi. It's a nice header. He had good instinct on that. Loops it right over Rui Patricio. Not much for him to do. This was checked out by VAR for a possible offsides here. I'll pull this up real quick. And you could see it's if you look at this in an isolated frame, it does look like Thuram pushed into Patricio, but when you watch it in real time, it's not a foul. He didn't really get in the way of the keeper. Would this have been called back at the San Siro if it was Inter? I can't say that. You can make your own opinion about that one. But for me, it's not a goal. I think if you play the game, you know how it is to take a goal away from that because he's in an offside position. Does he really interfere with the play? I don't know if he's there or not. It's more that Mancini pushed into Patricio there. So nah, for me, you got to give that. You can't take that goal away from the player there. Let me figure this one. Oh, I was trying to share that with you, wasn't I? Yeah. Wait, here we go. Yeah, no, it's sharing. Why is it not appearing? There we go. That's why. Sorry. So this is what I was talking about. Here you can see how Thuram is pushing. It looks like he's pushing into him, but he backs away from him. Um. Anyway, let's keep on going with the play-by-play from the match. So that, of course, gets called back. It's a legit goal. And Roma then actually do get back into the match very quickly. So it's just as well. This is going to be a great ball by Lorenzo Pellegrini off of a free kick. It's hit about 40 yards onto the head of Mancini, who makes up, I shouldn't say makes up for, he was having a decent match up until then. Grabs the ball, puts it under his shirt. He must, obviously, his wife or his girlfriend is pregnant, and then runs to the halfway line. So it's an immediate reaction. It's what you want to see. Roma very much spurred on by the sold-out crowd. Then in the 44th minute, Lorenzo, man, he's playing so good from the center, like this trequartista, more type, kind of like an 8/10 type role. But he's playing on the half turn. He's opening up really well, he sees the entire counter. He looks for his teammates and he finds them. And here in the 44th minute, he does find El Shaarawy, who then I think it hits off his right foot and he takes it with his left and it bangs in top left, then hits off the crossbar, the traversa, and goes into the net. It's a brilliant counter by Roma, one which you wouldn't really anticipate for a coach who hasn't had a full preseason, so much time to employ his tactics. Maybe I'm being a bit generous, but no, I think it was really good play. 49th minute starts off the second half. Unfortunately, Thuram gets the better of Mancini there. He gets goal side of him, slots that one away. That was an assist by Barella. Darmian, actually. Barella plays Darmian. And then it's a decent play by them. I can't take that away. 56th minute. This is a bummer. Angelino does a good job of tracking him. I don't know where Mancini was for this goal. If I share this with you, yeah, let me see real quick. I want to show you what I'm trying to point out here. Share this. Share. Give me 1 second. Okay. So check this out. Where is Mancini? I don't know. Like, I'm not accusing him. He could have been involved in the counter here, but you see him at the top of the box. And then Barella is penetrating the 18-yard box here. But, of course, it's Thuram who converts it. Well, actually, it's an own goal by Angelino, but why was he the one? It's your most offensive defensive player marking Inter's most threatening striker in the box. So this one didn't make sense to me. I think this, unfortunately, is an error, a full team error here. And, all right, let's go back to wrapping up this match here. 2-3 at this point, 58th minute. Then it's hit off the post. I think that was Darmian. I can't tell because it's in Chinese, but I think that's number 28. Then a beautiful ball by Pellegrini, 70th minute. Roma has an incredible chance to even it up here, 3-3. But Sommer does. I don't want to give Sommer too much credit. Lukaku should have had this. He'll definitely be disappointed today. He's going to look back on this one. And let me share this one right here. Because this scene is just, it's disappointing, when you see like how close Roma was to drawing level against one of the best teams in Europe. He could have walked it around. He could have body feinted, but instead Sommer comes out and has a good tackle here. Good tackle, a good save, catches him, and the rest is history. Roma go on to lose this match, unfortunately, by 4-2. And that second goal will be happening shortly after that. All right, let's take a look at some stuff on Twitter here. Yesterday, I was flying back home, so I got to see this I got to see this match from the plane. It was pretty cool. Shout out to Delta for having decent Wi-Fi. But yeah, I want to make sure that Sanremo yesterday, Sanremo, the music contest that they have in Italy, and one of my favorite rappers or artists, Geolier, from Napoli, he got second place. A lot of people thought he was going to get first. All right, time for that presser. Where are we? Oh yeah, I flew over the site of the 2026 World Cup final yesterday in New Jersey. You could see just how beautiful my lovely state is. I live like if you look to right before the river here and you look to the right, that's where I live. So I live very close to the stadium. That's Rutherford, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Yeah, it's quite quite something. Oh, best quote of the day, the pupil one about Spalletti, but where did I post it? Here we go. Okay. Is the key takeaway from this game that Roma want to play good football? He's asked. And I got this from asroma.com. They translated this one nicely for me. He says, yes, we do want to play good football. I think there's lots of positives to take from this match and a few things we need to learn because if we want to match these top teams, we can't afford to lower our guard because they have quality in their ranks and they'll make you pay. I think it was a pretty evenly matched for most of the game with a few spells where they were on top, mainly at the start of the second half and a few spells when we were better. Agreed. In any case, I'm proud of my players' attitude. They give their all and the crowd recognized that too. When the fans recognize your efforts, it means something. They don't do it just to give you a pat on the back. I'm proud of the lads because they played like a real team against very good opponents. I think we're on the right track, and I do too. I very much feel that things are very different now. I like the manager sticking up for the players in public. I always felt that if you have something to say against your players, you do so one-on-one. You do so in the office at Trigoria, nowhere else. Definitely not in the press. Definitely not. And he also, in the pre-presser, mentions Roma can go and beat any team. Nobody's unbeatable, and that's what they need to hear. Next question. How much of it was decided by individuals? There was that quarter of an hour where Marcus Thuram turned the game around, and those two chances for Lukaku. He says it's easy to point out the negatives, and it's easy to point the finger at a single player. That's true, right? We can't just totally blame Lukaku here for missing it. You lose as a team, and that's always got to be remembered. I think football is all about moments, De Rossi continues, and you win and lose games as a team. 11 players and me let up a little at the start of the second half. If you do that against Verona or Salernitana, you can win the match because you're better than your opponents. If you do it against Inter, you can lose the match. I don't like this game of finding someone to blame. I didn't like it when I was a player, and I don't like it now. Everyone did their bit. And if Roma played well, as I think we did, it's thanks to everyone. And if we lost, it's because we were all inferior to Inter, although not by much. Next question. Roma made a strong start and managed to score twice against a team that had only let in 10 in 22 matches. Your game plan was to keep Angelino a bit narrower and have El Shaarawy playing a bit deeper. He was superb in the first half, defending and breaking forward into space with his quality. This is the reporter saying all that. He says, we decided to defend with 5 to mirror our opponents, partly out of respect for them because we knew how good they were, and we didn't allow them the width they get with Lautaro's layoffs and their ball circulation. So we decided to defend with 5. Good tactical transition here by De Rossi. The only risk was that Angelino doesn't have the typical physique of a left center back, but we wanted to use his ability to play out under pressure, and I think it worked to a degree. We did well. Stefan did well. We knew that we need to counter, that we need to be bold, and that there would be times when we'd be under the cosh, like under pressure, and we'd have to play on the counter like a small team, quote unquote, because that's another way you can win games. It's then asked, this second to last, third to last question here. What do you take away from this defeat? He says, we take a match to analyze. We'll analyze our fitness, our play, and our choices. I'm a disciple of Luciano Spalletti's. This quote got very popular, a lot of traction here. He says, when people praised us because we lost but played well, he'd say, there's nothing to praise. You lost at home and you'd have to work on things. You can rarely say a defeat was totally undeserved. This wasn't undeserved. Inter weren't undeserving. It might have ended in a draw, but Inter weren't undeserving. If we want to compete with a team like Inter, an excellent team, we have to raise our game and become perfect by analyzing the defeat. If we go away happy because we played well but lost, that's a recipe for mediocrity, and that's not what we want. The reporter says it was quite similar to the Verona game in that you started the second half a bit deeper and the opposition came on to you. Then you ended the game playing in the other half. Why the seesaw mentality? Do you need to improve in dealing with those games within the game? He says, yes, we need to improve. I have to improve. Clearly, we didn't press the right buttons at halftime. We prepared for the game knowing that there would be lots of different games within the game. If you went into this match against Inter not thinking you'll have to dig in at some point, that you won't be pegged back at all during the 90 minutes, you'd be living in dreamland, as things stand at the moment anyway. But I think when you get these moments, when you have to dig in, you have to keep chipping away, keep pressing the ball carrier, never give him freedom, because otherwise they'll start pinging it around and you'll never see the ball. We need to perfect ourselves. Our defensive movements were good all game, but then we got mixed on Angelino's own goal. We ended up with Paolo sprinting 70 meters to defend a cross into the box. That's one of those little things we need to work on, he says. You have to be perfect against teams like this. Otherwise, they'll score against you. Last question here, guys. Is the Europa League a priority for you? Do you think you're up for it? He says, we have to be up for everything. We're not inferior to anyone. If you look at the teams in the Europa League, there's some big names, some clubs with great squads, but we're just as good. We must keep working. We don't need to play everyone. We just have to beat Feyenoord. That's our goal. We have 2 matches, the first of which will be a cauldron of a stadium. We must be ready for it physically and mentally because it's going to be tough. Guys, let me know what you think. Leave a like, subscribe to this page if you're new here, and thank you very much. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.